Today I'm going to go out on a limb. I say this because I have managed to attract people of higher frequencies on the channel, and I fear that I'm going to get the wrath of a lot of flat earth proponents. Some are pretty vocal and persistent in their beliefs because so much bad science has been created to prove to you that we live in a snow globe type world. I have to admit that I did consider the possibility about a decade ago, but my background in astronomy is limited. So when I met Dan Willis, I asked for his guidance back in January 2024. As always, Dan was very helpful and told me that DARPA and CIA created the Flat Earth PSYOP to see how easily people can be fooled. Dan sent me a meme from Forbidden Knowledge which reads as follows. The CIA started Flat Earth. It's a well-known PSYOP, and so far the mental experiment is a success. They have converted millions of people that rely solely on social media for all knowledge. They have no background in advanced mathematics and astrophysics. They are actually victims of a sadistic system that preys on people that are susceptible to fanaticism. So I decided to do some more research, and it turns out that a significant portion, about 52%, of vocal flat earth proponents are Christians, particularly those who interpret the Bible literally. In fact, flat earth believers are more likely to identify as very religious compared to the general population. Surprisingly, only 20% of those who identify as very religious believe the earth is spherical. While not all flat earthers are religious, most base their beliefs on pseudoscience and distrust of institutions like NASA. Clearly, a notable subset uses the Bible as evidence, interpreting certain verses literally to argue for a flat-domed earth. However, mainstream biblical scholars overwhelmingly view these as misinterpretations. They argue the Bible employs poetic, appearance-based, or metaphorical language rather than scientific cosmology. So, let's look at this firmament. In the Bible, primarily in Genesis chapter 1, verses 6 through 8, the firmament refers to a structure created by God on the second day of creation. It is described as an expanse or vault that separates the waters above from the waters below. Also, Genesis chapter 1 verses 6 and 7 say, "Let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters." These passages are commonly cited by flat earthers. This image, recorded in sacred texts as the firmament, wasn't born from ignorance. It was humanity's earliest attempt to describe what they felt: that the sky was alive, a realm filled with power, light, and spirit. But with time, literal interpretations replaced symbolic understanding. Some began to see the firmament as a hard shell, and from that, the flat earth dome theory was born. Yet, as our knowledge grew, so did our perspective. In the last century, science uncovered the real nature of the heavens above us. It isn't a glass ceiling or a barrier. It's plasma, the fourth state of matter. Plasma was first identified in 1879 by Sir William Crookes, who called it radiant matter. Later, in the 1920s, physicist Irving Langmuir coined the term plasma, describing it as a sea of charged particles, a fluid of ions and electrons carrying energy and information known as the Akashic Records. Today, we know plasma fills 99% of the visible universe. It's what stars are made of. It flows through solar winds, creates the shimmering curtains of the aurora borealis, and forms the ionosphere, which is an electrified layer encircling our planet. So, when ancient scriptures describe the firmament dividing the waters above from the waters below, they may have been witnessing the very phenomenon of plasma separating layers of atmosphere and space. The waters above representing cosmic plasma currents or vast rivers of charged energy, while the waters below symbolize the dense atmosphere and oceans of Earth. This understanding doesn't lock us inside a snow globe. It reveals that we live within a vast living field, a plasma membrane of divine design. It's dynamic, not fixed, protective, not imprisoning. It shields Earth from solar radiation, balances our magnetic field, and we are learning that it interacts with consciousness itself. I remember that the one who introduced me to Flat Earth was a so-called truther on Rumble who has largely been discredited. In fact, he could be in jail by now. But his convincing narratives hinged on the faked moon landing. Let's examine what happened when we went to the moon. Secret Space Program witness William Tompkins said, "First of all, it's not our moon. Second of all, it's not a moon." This is quite an interesting revelation, isn't it? Do you remember a Stanley Kubrick movie titled 2001: A Space Odyssey? The sets for this movie were many lunar settings. The movie was filmed in 1968, directly before the moon landing in 1969. Jay Weidner spent 15 years investigating Kubrick's death, and he believes that we did go to the moon. But what we viewed back on Earth was completely staged video using Kubrick's movie set, because governments could never tell the general public what was really found on the moon, which was believed to be ancient ruins, extraterrestrial colonies. So they created the fake lunar landing movie for our benefit. Stanley Kubrick's final film was Eyes Wide Shut, where he exposed the elite indulging in satanic sex magic at a fancy upstate New York mansion. Kubrick died 6 days after the first screening of Eyes Wide Shut. It appears that Kubrick knew too much and was becoming a loose cannon. Another major argument of flat earthers is that they repeatedly point to the fact that the horizon is flat. The horizon appears flat to the naked eye because of the Earth's immense size relative to human scale and the limited field of view from the ground. Earth's circumference is about 40,075 kilometers, so the curvature is very gradual, only about 0.00126 degrees per meter at sea level, imperceptible without specialized equipment or high altitude. When you stand on the surface, the horizon is the edge of your visible plane. This creates a straight line illusion, as the curve is too subtle to detect without a wider perspective, like from an airplane or satellite, where the spherical shape becomes evident. The curvature of Earth becomes visually evident from high-altitude airplanes like the Concorde, which typically flies above 35,000 feet at about 60,000 feet, or military reconnaissance planes. Commercial jets at 35,000 feet may show a very faintly arc over oceans with a wide view, but it's much more pronounced at higher altitudes. Specifically, weather balloons go very high and have captured some great shots of the curvature. You are looking at portions of one such project, and I've linked this amazing video in completion in the description of this video. I don't know about you, but this clearly shows the Earth's curvature. It was not produced by any government, but by a weather balloon project at the University of Leicester, aptly named Project Ether. I understand how entrenched this concept is in the mind of many, and I realize that some will want to argue the fact, which you are free to do respectfully in the comments, but I will not be responding to the various arguments that many cling to. For me, the flat Earth model is confinement. The plasma firmament is connection via an energy bridge that links physical reality with the higher frequencies of creation. I've done many years of study and practice related to these vibrational frequencies, and I personally have felt the connection and even briefly traveled to the unseen world. Psyops such as Flat Earth are designed to suck our energy, and I can't allow that to distract me. Perhaps the prophets saw a similar realm, not a structure to fear, but a veil to be lifted. The closest thing I've seen to this particular psyop was in the movie The Truman Show, where a microcosm was designed to prevent Truman from ever venturing beyond. When scripture says, "The heavens shall be rolled back like a scroll," it may describe the moment when our perception expands, when the plasma veil shifts, revealing higher realms that coexist with our own. My spirit will never be trapped in a confined world designed to suppress my evolution. We are immersed in a cosmic ocean of light. Our skies are not ceilings, they are thresholds. As humanity evolves, both spiritually and technologically, that threshold may thin. And when it does, the firmament won't break. It will open to allow us to remember who we are, beings of energy, consciousness, and divine potential.